And we have some news just coming in. S Jaishankar has exposed Trudeau's hypocrisy. S Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister, brands Canada terror haven. External Affairs Minister says ready for probe if Canada gives proof. Slamming Trudeau's political compulsions, External Affairs Minister calls out organized crime and extremism.
Well, I don't know if I would use the term deadlock. I think you would have heard me speak about this matter, I think the first time in CFR in New York, today at somewhat greater length at Hudson. The issue is as follows, which is that the Canadians have made some allegations. We have pointed out to them that this is not Government of India's policy, but if they are prepared to share with us specifics and anything relevant, we are also open to looking at it. So in that sense, that's where the matter stands. But what we do not want to see is an incident treated in isolation, because then that somewhere does not convey the right picture. The fact is that we have had an ongoing problem with Canada and the Canadian government for some years now, and the ongoing problem really revolves around the permissiveness in regard to terrorism, extremism and violence. And this permissiveness is also reflected in the fact that some important extradition requests have not been responded to from their side, in the fact that there are individuals and organizations who are clearly involved with violence and illegal activities in India, who themselves declared it. I mean, it is not a secret. And that they continue to carry on with their activities in Canada. And most important, the fact that our diplomatic missions and our diplomatic personnel have been consistently and continuously intimidated in Canada, to a point where today it is not safe for them really to carry on with their work. I mean, obviously, the fact that we've had to temporarily suspend our visa operations, I mean, it is not something we would have liked to do. It is just that they have made it very difficult for us to operate those services.
S Jaishankar exposing Trudeau's hypocrisy, brands Canada terror haven. External Affairs Minister says ready for probe if Canada gives proof. Also slamming Trudeau's political compulsions, the External Affairs Minister has called out organized crime and extremism in Canada, essentially saying that this has been an ongoing conversation. Anisha is getting us more details on that story. Anisha, as far as India is concerned, this, India has in fact continued to expose Trudeau's hypocrisy. Changing statements over a period of last 10 days or so is what the External Affairs Minister is referring to here, calling Canada a terror haven, a safe haven for terrorists.
Well, Sneha, we've seen the kind of very strong statements that are being made by India on the international stage, as the External Affairs Minister is in the US, he's meeting the US authorities, he is speaking at the UNGA also, and he has said very clearly that the Canadians have made some allegations, and the government of India has said that this is not our policy. If they want to say something specific and relevant, India is open to looking at it. What is also important is that India has once again clearly said that the Canadian government has been submissive in regard to terrorism, extremism and violence, and this is reflected that in the fact that extradition requests, very important extradition requests involving violence and illegal activities in India have not been responded to by the government of Canada, that the diplomatic missions are worried, and that is a very, very strong statement. That's a very, very clear statement being made by the External Affairs Minister of India. He said that there have been issues raised with regard to this Khalistan issue, with regard to the over the last 10 years that suggestions have been made, but the discussions are not representing the entire community. And that is a very important point that is being made by the Indian government also, and this is exactly what we are hearing here also from community representatives, that what is happening does not in fact represent the views of the entire Sikh community. The people who are talking about separatism, the people who are talking about terrorism, whose arguments involve violence, is a small minority, and the External Affairs Minister today is saying exactly the same thing, that in this climate of violence that is happening, the consulate, the officials are worried, and he has raised a very pointed question to Canada, that how are you letting this happen, that how would you react to it if it is happening to your diplomats, and Canada cannot allow this to be normalized.
All right. Anisha, I'm thanking you for the moment. Anisha is getting us all of those details. Anisha is in Surrey in Canada. Meanwhile, speaking at a discussion in Washington, D.C. on Friday, Jaishankar went on to call Canada a hub of organized crimes.
The Canadian Prime Minister made some allegations, initially privately and then publicly. This has been an issue of great friction for many years with Canada, in fact going back to the 1980s. Then it became dormant, but in the last few years it has come back very much into play because of what we consider to be a very permissive Canadian attitude towards terrorists, extremists, people who openly advocate violence. And they have been given operating space in Canada because of the compulsions of Canadian politics. Did I speak about it with Jake Sullivan and Tony Blinken? Yes, I did. They obviously shared, U.S. views and assessments on this whole situation. I think hopefully we both came out of those meetings better informed.